Have you ever felt like you're running and running, yet never reaching the finish line day after day? A packed calendar, a tense heart, heavy breaths. We live in an age that glorifies hustle, that praises sacrificing health and sleep in the name of success. But what if everything you're chasing doesn't come from straining harder? What if the real secret to creating an extraordinary life begins with letting go? The ancients saw this truth. The Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, whispered a lesson our modern world has forgotten. Real strength doesn't come from grasping and fighting. It comes from the deep peace of moving with nature's flow. Picture this: a river does not wrestle with the rocks. It flows, it bends, it moves around them, and over time shapes the valley itself. That is you, when you stop battling what you cannot control and start moving in harmony with what is. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Confine yourself to the present, because when you clutch the future with worry, you lose your only real power, the power of this moment. And this moment is fertile soil, where every seed of success is planted." Have you noticed the more desperately you try to grasp something, the more it slips away? A relationship, an opportunity, a dream. Epictetus called it preferred indifference. You may want love, prosperity, achievement, but your happiness cannot depend on them. And here's the paradox. When you release the grip, those very things come looking for you. Society teaches us absolute control is power. The Stoics taught the opposite: surrendering control is freedom. Seneca reminded us, it is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who always craves more. Meaning, you are already enough, already whole. And from that fullness, you can truly create, truly love, truly grow. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. To love what happens not because it's easy, but because it's exactly what you needed to grow. Sometimes failure is preparation. Sometimes loss is the beginning. Sometimes today's no is clearing the way for tomorrow's brilliant yes. You don't need to strain to prove your worth. Live fully. Plant your seeds with a clear heart. And let the sun, the rain, the earth do their work. Remember this: your true power arrives when you stop forcing life and start trusting it. Say it with me: I release control. I welcome the flow of fate. And from my peace, my strength unfolds. In a world of constant hustle and relentless pressure, Stoic philosophy offers us 13 timeless habits, 13 keys that transform how we approach manifestation. It's no longer a race to exhaustion. It's a journey back to peace, to presence, to trust in the natural flow. Each habit is a doorway, a new path, from releasing control to strengthening the inner life, to living authentically and trusting the timing of the universe. And this journey begins with habit number 1, the art of detached desire. Have you ever wanted something so badly it felt suffocating, and yet the harder you wanted it, the further it slipped away? A dream job, a person you longed to love, a vision burning inside you. The tighter you held, the quicker it escaped. And you asked yourself why the ancients saw this paradox long ago. Epictetus, once a slave-turned-philosopher, wrote, "True wealth is not having great possessions, but having few wants." This is not a call to abandon your dreams. It is a reminder: desperate craving is a chain. Picture it. You hold a butterfly in your hand. Clench your fist too tight and you crush it. Open your palm and it rests with ease. Dreams are the same. Held lightly, they stay. Grasped with desperation, they flee. The Stoics called this preferred indifference. Yes, you can want success, love, prosperity, but your happiness cannot be hostage to them. Your soul cannot be chained to outcomes. Think of the people you've met, the ones who always seem lucky. They're not the ones crying, "I need this. I lack that." They move with ease. They radiate enoughness, and that energy becomes magnetic. This is true maturity to say, "I will work. I will plant seeds. But if it doesn't bloom the way I imagine, I am still whole." That is not surrender. That is strength, because you trust that the universe often has a plan greater than your own vision. Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who craves more." Release the craving. Free yourself from attachment. And suddenly, peace opens the door. From that peace comes clarity. From clarity comes wiser choices. And paradoxically, more abundance flows to you. Do you see it? When the mind is no longer haunted by lack, you step into the frequency of abundance. You plant seeds with faith instead of digging them up in fear. And in that trust, life often delivers something better, something far beyond what you first imagined. So the Stoic lesson is clear. Desire, but don't despair. Hope, but don't cling. Hold your dreams in an open palm. Now take a deep breath with me and repeat these words: I desire with peace. I act with trust. I am already enough even before my dream takes form. After learning how to loosen our grip on desire, after finding strength in letting go, we take the next step. A step into habit number 2. Present moment magnetism. The magnetism of now. Where every real opportunity begins to open. Think about it. Where are you most of the time? Your body is here, but your mind, it's racing into tomorrow or wandering back into yesterday. We live like guests in our own lives. And then we wonder, why does happiness always feel out of reach? The Stoics gave us the answer thousands of years ago. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future." Not a lofty idea, not abstract philosophy, but a practical blueprint for living. Think of a conversation with someone truly captivating. They don't need to speak too much. They don't need to prove anything. Yet you feel seen. You feel heard. You feel their presence. That is the power of being fully here. But most of us, we live like a phone stuck on multitask mode. Half our mind replaying the past, half our mind stressing about the future, and because of that, we miss the subtle signals of the present. The chance encounter, the spark of an idea, the opportunity right in front of us. Picture this: you're driving a car. If your eyes are locked on the rearview mirror or staring at the horizon far ahead, you'll miss the turn happening right now. Life works the same way. Opportunity doesn't live in someday. It lives in each step you take today. When you anchor yourself in the present, feeling your breath, your feet on the ground, the light streaming through the window, you enter a different frequency. An energy that is calm, clear, magnetic. That's when you become a magnet. You begin to attract the people, the events, the opportunities that were always around you, but you couldn't see them until now. Remember this: living in the present doesn't mean abandoning dreams. It doesn't mean you stop planning. It means you stop postponing happiness. You don't have to wait for the promotion, for the money, for someone to love you. You can live fully right here, right now. And the paradox? The moment you savor the present, you are planting the seeds of a better future. That's the beautiful twist. When you stop chasing tomorrow, you start creating a fuller tomorrow. So come back to the present. This is the only place you truly exist. This is the soil where every dream waits to be planted. Take a deep breath with me and repeat these words: I am here. I am present. And in this moment, I am enough. When you've learned to anchor yourself in the present, you begin to see another truth. Life will not always be smooth. Reality will test you. It will throw obstacles in your path, moments of failure, walls that feel impossible to break through. And this is the next step on the Stoic journey. Habit number 3. The wisdom of accepted resistance. Have you ever wondered, why is it that the very moment you feel most determined, life seems to drop another boulder right in your way? A door slams shut. A plan falls apart. A trusted friend walks away. Do you see these as signs to quit? Or maybe, just maybe, they are the very path you're meant to walk through. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't writing theory. He lived through war, through plague, through betrayal in politics. And instead of collapsing, he discovered this: obstacles are not walls. They are gates. Think of a grain of sand inside an oyster. At first it's painful. It irritates. It disrupts the calm. But over time, that fragile shell transforms the irritation into a shining pearl. Without the friction, the pearl would never exist. And so it is with you. The very thing tripping you today might be the raw material that makes you shine tomorrow. The problem is, most of us see obstacles as punishment, as a cruel verdict. We collapse and whisper, "Why me?" But what if you change the question? What if instead of asking, "Why me?" you asked, "What lesson is here for me? How is this shaping me?" Suddenly, your energy shifts. Instead of wasting your strength resisting reality, you turn it into power to adapt. Look around in real life. Losing a job sometimes reveals your true calling. A heartbreak often clears space for a deeper love. A failed project can teach you more than any classroom ever could. Seneca reminded us, difficulties strengthen the mind just as labor strengthens the body. Every obstacle is training. Every challenge is a workout for the soul. Muscles only grow with weight, and your spirit grows through the weight of life. Here's the climax. When you stop seeing hardship as an enemy and start seeing it as a teacher, you free yourself. You no longer burn out fighting reality. You move with it, flexible, resilient, unstoppable. The message is clear. Obstacles do not destroy you. They are shaping you. What stands in your way is not here to push you back, but to build you strong enough to move forward. Say it with me: I do not crumble before obstacles. I grow through them. I turn resistance into my way forward. When you've learned to see obstacles as part of the path, you uncover an even deeper truth. The greatest enemy isn't always out there. Sometimes it's inside you. It's not the mountain blocking your way. It's the whisper in your mind. I'm not good enough. I'll only be happy when things change. I'm only worthy if others approve. And that leads us to the next step in the Stoic journey. Habit number 4, the power of inner authority. Have you noticed how often we hand our happiness over to others? A compliment makes us glow. A cold glance crushes us. A number in a bank account decides our worth. But what if I told you you've been giving away the keys to your own life? Epictetus once said, No one can harm you without your permission. Simple words, but enough to change everything. Because your happiness, your peace, your value do not live out there. They live within you. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll be happy when I land that job. I'll feel complete when someone loves me. I'll be confident when I have more money." We place our joy on things we cannot control. And so our hearts become like tiny boats in a storm, rising and sinking with every wave of circumstance. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." What does that mean? It means the power is not in their hands. It is in your mind. Imagine waking each morning and simply deciding that today you will be at peace. Yes, challenges will come. Yes, people may disappoint you, but they cannot touch your center unless you hand them the power. When you reclaim your inner authority, you live differently. You stop making choices out of fear or scarcity. You act from certainty. You no longer chase approval. And that very confidence draws success to you. Opportunities are magnetized to those who don't beg for them. People are drawn to those who radiate fullness from within. This isn't theory, it's reality. Think about the people you admire. Are they not the ones who stand firm when the world shakes, the ones who don't crumble at criticism? It's not because they're lucky. It's because they know their worth does not depend on circumstances. Here's the climax. When you master the inside, the outside has no choice but to shift. You're no longer a puppet pulled by invisible strings. You're the driver, the author of your own story. The message is clear. Happiness is not a prize someone gives you. It is a choice you can make right now. So breathe deeply. Place your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I am the author of my life. I choose peace. I choose worth. I choose strength from within. When you've reclaimed your inner authority, you begin to see a subtle truth. More action doesn't always mean more progress. Sometimes the wisest move is to stop, to pause, to create space. And that brings us to the next step in the Stoic journey. Habit number 5, the art of strategic non-action. Have you ever felt like you were always running, always doing, always busy, yet never really moving forward, your calendar packed, your to-do list endless, but deep down, empty? If I told you that doing more doesn't always take you further, would you believe me? We live in a culture that glorifies busyness. We confuse movement with progress. But the Stoics and many great sages knew the truth. Sometimes the pause is the most powerful strategy. Think of a chess master. They don't rush every piece across the board. They observe. They wait. They let their opponent's impatience create the opening. And when the moment is right, one single move changes the entire game. Your life works the same way. You don't always need constant motion. Sometimes you need stillness to see the right move clearly. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In a world obsessed with doing, he reminded us to distinguish between action born of wisdom and action born of anxiety. So ask yourself, am I doing this because it truly matters, or because I can't stand the silence? How many times have you jumped into another project, another meeting, another distraction, just to cover up the discomfort of stillness? The truth is, Much of what we call hard work is really fear in disguise. Seneca warned us, "We complain that time is short, but we waste much of it." Are you wasting time in meaningless motion, instead of creating space for what really matters to appear? Here's the climax. When you allow yourself to pause, you are not weaker. You are planting trust. You are letting the universe work with you. Like planting a seed, you put it in the soil, you water it, and then you must let the sun, the rain, and the earth do their part. If you keep digging it up every day to check, the seed will never grow. Strategic non-action is not laziness. It is courage, the courage to wait for the right moment. It is trust in the process. It is the wisdom to know that sometimes stillness is the most powerful action of all. So don't mistake busyness for progress. Act when it truly matters. And be brave enough to pause when it's not the time. Repeat after me, I am not caught in the spiral of busyness. I choose intentional action. I know when to move and when to be still. Habit 6. Gratitude as a manifesting force. Have you ever noticed? The happiest people aren't always the ones who have the most, but the ones who appreciate the most. The strange thing is, when you truly feel grateful for what you already have, life seems eager to give you even more. Why is that? The Stoics uncovered this secret thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Each morning when you wake, remember you will meet people who meddle, who are ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, jealous, and surly. But we cannot be angry because they are like us. They do not know good from evil." He saw human weakness, but instead of bitterness, he chose gratitude. That is the essence of gratitude. It's not ignoring hardship. It's not painting life in fake colors. It's choosing to notice what still works, instead of obsessing over what's broken. Picture this. You walk into a dark room. If you stare only at the darkest corner, you feel heavy, suffocated. But if you turn toward a single small lamp, suddenly, the darkness isn't everything. Life works the same way. When you focus on what you're grateful for, your energy shifts from scarcity to abundance. And from that state of abundance, you become a magnet for even more. Think of daily life. When you're grateful for your body, you take better care of it. When you're grateful for your relationships, you nurture them, and in return, they deepen with more love and trust. When you're grateful for small opportunities, you lay the foundation for greater ones to appear. Seneca once said, "No man is happy who does not think himself so." No one can be happy without gratitude, because gratitude turns what you have into enough. And enough is always the foundation for more. Here's the climax. When you begin your day with gratitude for your breath, for the sky, for the people you love, you step into the world with different energy, and the world reflects that energy back to you. When you go to sleep in gratitude, your mind begins searching for reasons to be grateful tomorrow. The positive cycle expands. The message is clear. Gratitude isn't just good manners, it's a force, a magnetic field, a doorway from lack into abundance, from exhaustion into fullness. Repeat after me, I am grateful for what I have. I am already full, and from this fullness, abundance flows into my life. Habit 7. The strength of emotional sovereignty. Have you ever let one careless comment ruin your whole day? One cold glance make you question your worth? One small failure spiral into a storm of emotion? If so, you're not alone. But ask yourself this: are my emotions the ruler of my life? or the tool I can master. The Stoics believed emotions are not random storms falling from the sky. They are born from the way we interpret events. Seneca once wrote, "Every new thing excites the mind, but the mind that seeks truth turns to the eternal." He understood this. Emotions are simply reactions, and we have the power to shape those reactions. Picture this. You're in the cockpit of a plane. A strong wind rises. If you let go of the controls, the plane lurches and spirals. But if you steady your hands, if you guide with calm, that same wind becomes the lift that carries you higher. Emotions work the same way. They are energy. You can let them fly you off course, or you can learn to steer them. Think of real life. Two people face the same rejection. One crumbles, gives up. The other turns the pain into fuel. The difference isn't the event, it's their level of emotional sovereignty. And this doesn't mean denying or suppressing emotions. No. The Stoics didn't pretend to be unshakable. They felt grief. They felt anger. They felt fear. But instead of letting emotions hold the reins, they observed them. They asked, "What is this anger here to teach me? Where is this sadness guiding me? How long do I choose to stay in this state?" In doing so, they turned emotions into messengers, not masters. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the key. When you understand that joy, peace, and trust are choices, you reclaim your creative power. You stop getting pulled into chaos. You become the calm center. And from that center, you draw more peace, more joy, more clarity into your life. Here's the climax. When you master your emotions, you master your future. You are no longer a victim of someone's words or the world's conditions. You are the architect of your inner experience. And from that inner world, you shape the outer one. The message is clear. Your emotions exist, but they do not control you. You are the one holding the controls. So place your hand on your chest and repeat after me. Emotions live within me, but I rule them. I choose peace. I choose joy. I am the one at the controls. Habit 8. The philosophy of enough. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, how much is enough? A bigger house, a larger bank account, a higher position, and yet, the moment you get there, it still feels like not enough. Maybe the problem was never about quantity. Maybe it was always about perception. Seneca, one of the wealthiest, most powerful Stoic philosophers of Rome, left us a truth that still echoes today. It is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who craves more. He knew this feeling well, because he had stood at the very top. He had everything people dream of, and he still discovered satisfaction doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the state of your inner world. Picture this. You're drinking water from a cup. If you believe the cup is always half empty, you drink in panic, always afraid it will run out. But if you see it as full, you drink with gratitude, with peace. Enough doesn't live in the amount of water in the cup. It lives in the eyes that see it. But we live in a society that whispers in our ears every day, "You're not enough. You need more. You must run faster." And that voice turns us into slaves of endless desire. But pause. Ask yourself, am I truly lacking, or have I just been taught to believe that I am? Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Very little is needed to live a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. He was pointing to this: the feeling of enough is the doorway to peace. And here's the paradox. When you feel enough, you stop making choices from fear and scarcity. You act from fullness. And that very energy draws even more abundance to you. Think of the people who inspire you most. Are they the ones constantly complaining about what they lack? No. They are the ones who radiate contentment, who shine with peace in what they have, even as they stay open to more. That contentment isn't complacency. It's a foundation. It says, I am enough. And from this enoughness, I am ready to receive more. Here's the climax. When you truly feel enough, you break free from the endless chase of not enough. You step back into freedom. And from that freedom, you become a magnet for abundance without forcing it. The message is clear. Enough is not a destination. It is a choice. You don't have to wait for one more condition to be met. You can choose it right now. So repeat after me. I am enough. I have enough. And from this enoughness, abundance flows into my life. Habit 9. The courage of authentic expression. Have you ever worn a mask just to please others? You smile when you don't feel like smiling. You nod yes when your heart is screaming no. You follow a path not because it's yours, but because it's what society expects. And then one day, you realize you've walked too far away from yourself. Do you dare take off that mask and let the world see the real you? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only to what he does himself." The Stoics understood. Living out of alignment with yourself is the deepest betrayal, a betrayal of your own soul. And that betrayal creates resistance, blocking your dreams from becoming real. Think about it. When you send the wrong signal to the universe, saying you want one thing, but living as if you want another, how can life possibly give you what's truly meant for you? The truth is, many of us grow up afraid of judgment, afraid of not being loved, afraid of being different. So we put on disguises. We work jobs we don't love. We stay in relationships we don't want. We chase dreams borrowed from someone else's expectations. But life is too short. Do you really want to live it as a copy or as the one original version of you? Seneca once said, "He who follows nature will never be poor, but he who follows people's opinions will never be rich." Poor not in money, but in freedom. In the freedom to be yourself. Now think about the people who inspire you most. They're not the ones who try to please everyone. They're the ones who dare to live authentically, criticized, at times misunderstood, at times, but glowing. And that glow attracts the right people, the right opportunities, the right experiences. Here's the climax. When you live authentically, you no longer waste energy keeping up the mask. That energy is freed to create, to love, to manifest your dreams. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to belong to everyone, you finally find the people, the love, the work that truly belong to you. The message is clear. The courage to live authentically is not a luxury. It is the foundation of a fulfilled life. Only when you live as yourself can you receive what was truly meant for you. So take a deep breath and repeat. After me, I release the mask. I live true to myself. And from that truth, I attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right life. Habit 10. Trust in divine timing. Have you ever asked yourself, why hasn't what I'm waiting for arrived yet? You've worked hard. You've waited. you've prayed, and still, the door stays closed. The path feels empty, and you begin to wonder, has the universe forgotten me? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." He knew there is a rhythm larger than us, a design beyond our control. And sometimes what you want hasn't arrived, not because it isn't yours, but because the time isn't right. Picture this: an apple still green on the branch. You want to eat it now. You pluck it too soon. It's sour hard, unable to nourish you. But if you let it ripen in its own season, it becomes sweet, full, complete. Life is the same. A delay can be protection. A waiting season can be preparation. The truth is, we often fall victim to our own personal timelines. I have to be married by this age. I have to succeed in the next 5 years. I have to reach that goal right now. And when it doesn't happen, we tighten despair, even lose faith. But Seneca reminded us, time heals what reason cannot. Some things need to be planted in darkness. They need time to grow quietly, to develop unseen. If you force them open too soon, you destroy their very potential. Think back to the treasures of your life. A love that arrived unexpectedly. An opportunity that showed up off schedule. A relationship that led you into a new chapter. How many of those happened exactly when you planned? Almost none. But didn't they come at the moment you needed most? Here's the climax. When you learn to trust divine timing, you release the burden of trying to control everything. You stop fearing you're being left behind. You realize the universe is never late and never early. It is always on time. The message is clear. Trust the rhythm of life. Trust that everything you're waiting for will arrive, but on the universe's schedule, not yours. And while you wait, live fully in the present. Because the present is preparing you for what's next. Now repeat after me, I trust in divine timing. I am not forgotten. I am being prepared. And everything I hope for will come right on time. Habit 11. The discipline of a wider perspective. Have you ever felt like one small problem was enough to make your whole world collapse? One harsh criticism, one failure, one mistake at work. In that moment, it feels massive, impossible to overcome. But what if I told you, the problem isn't the event itself, the problem is your perspective? Epictetus once said, people are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. It sounds simple, but it can change your life. Picture this. You're staring at a painting. If your eyes are pressed too close, all you see are messy strokes. But when you step back, the whole picture appears beautiful, meaningful. Life works the same way. When we're trapped inside a moment, we exaggerate the pain. But when we widen our view, we realize today's failure is nothing more than a tiny dot in the grand canvas of a lifetime. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to imagine looking down from above, from space itself. And from that view, every argument, every worry, every loss became dust in the flow of eternity. That's how he stayed calm through war, through plague, through betrayal. Now try this practice. Close your eyes and imagine you're seeing Earth from space. The unpaid bill, the annoying coworker, the missed opportunity. Suddenly, they shrink to something laughably small. What do you see instead? A blue planet. Billions of lives. Time flowing endlessly forward. And in that picture, your burden is just one wave on an infinite ocean soon to dissolve. Here's the climax. When you discipline yourself to widen your perspective, you take back your freedom. You're no longer a victim of exaggerated emotions. You become the one steering your perception. Pain doesn't crush you. Failure doesn't define you. They become experiences, raw material for growth. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you expand your perspective, the smaller you feel. Yet, the stronger you become inside. Because you're no longer chained to the narrow me. You belong to something larger, something eternal. And from that place, peace arises. The message is clear. It's not the event that hurts you, it's how you see it. When you widen your view, you transform tragedy into wisdom, failure into stepping stones. Now repeat after me. I choose to see further. I am not trapped in the moment. I see the bigger picture. And from that view, I find peace. Habit 12. Daily self-reflection. Have you ever gone to bed wondering, did I live true to what really matters today? Have you ever woken up unprepared and felt the whole day sweep you away in chaos? If so, you've touched the heart of what the Stoics believed was one of the most powerful habits of all daily self-reflection. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, left us his book, Meditations. But here's the truth. It was never meant for anyone else. It wasn't a public work. It was his private journal, a place where he reminded himself, corrected himself, guided himself day by day. The Stoics believed that life doesn't always need grand breakthroughs. Real strength comes from pausing, often looking back, and gently steering yourself back on course. Picture your life like a ship at sea. If you don't check the compass regularly, a small drift of just a few degrees can over time carry you hundreds of miles away from your true destination. Reflection is the compass. It keeps you aligned with your values. So how do we practice it? In the morning before the day begins, take 1 minute. Say to yourself, today, I may meet difficulty, obstacles, or difficult people, but I will not let them take my peace. This is how you choose to be proactive instead of reactive. And at night, before sleep, ask yourself, how did I live today? Did I stay true to my values? Did I let fear or anger drive me? This is how you learn from your own life. Seneca once said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." He meant this. If we never measure our actions against our ideals, we drift through life in a fog pushed by the current instead of steering our own ship. Think about it. An athlete doesn't just compete. They review the tapes after every game. A business doesn't just sell. They reflect at day's end to adjust strategy. So why wouldn't you give your own life, the most important thing you'll ever manage, the same level of care? Here's the climax. When you make reflection a daily practice, you stop living like a leaf blown by the wind. You become awake. You see your mistakes without hating yourself. You notice your progress and actually celebrate it. And day by day, you move closer to aligned action, living in harmony with your soul and your values. The message is clear. You don't need to change the world in a single day. You just need to pause. Each morning to prepare. Each evening to reflect. That's how you become the architect of your life instead of its victim. Now repeat after me. Each day I pause. Each day I reflect. And through reflection, I move closer to the person I long to become. Habit 13. The power of community and contribution. Have you ever noticed that your happiest moments rarely come from achieving something just for yourself? They come when you give. A helping hand, a word of encouragement, a small gesture that lights up someone else's eyes. What if manifestation isn't just about me, but about us? The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca once wrote, "We are members of one great body." That means your joy, your pain, your energy, they're never just yours. They ripple outward. They touch a network much larger than you can see. Manifestation isn't only about pulling things toward yourself. It's about creating energy so strong it resonates, expands, and uplifts the whole. And here's the paradox. The more you give, the more life gives back in ways beyond your imagination. Picture a single drop falling into a still pond. It doesn't stop at one circle. It ripples outward. It touches the farthest shore. That's you. When you share knowledge, help a stranger, or plant a seed of belief in someone who's forgotten their worth. The waves return sometimes quietly, sometimes dramatically, but always multiplied. Remember, every personal goal is tied to the collective. A successful entrepreneur doesn't just earn profit, they create jobs. A true artist doesn't create just for themselves, they move hearts across generations. A parent doesn't just raise a child, they raise the future of humanity. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "What is not good for the beehive is not good for the bee." He knew personal good can never be separated from the common good. And here's the climax. When you see your goals as part of a greater picture, your steps take on new meaning. You stop asking, "What do I get?" You start asking, "What do I give?" And the beautiful paradox is this: the more you give, the more flows back. Love, support, opportunities, abundance. The message is clear. You cannot manifest a great life by thinking only of yourself. True power lives in connection, in contribution, in becoming part of the great body we all share. Now repeat after me, I do not stand alone. I am part of the whole. When I give, I expand. When I contribute, abundance flows back to me. Have you ever noticed? The harder you grip, the tighter you hold on, the more life seems to slip through your fingers, and yet there are moments when you let go, when you exhale, when you trust, and suddenly everything begins to fall into place. Maybe the secret of manifestation was never about forcing. Maybe it has always been about alignment. The Stoics showed us this path thousands of years ago. Manifestation to them was not a desperate struggle to bend the world into submission. It was the art of living in harmony with nature, nurturing inner peace, and trusting that destiny always knows the right timing. You and I have just walked through 13 Stoic habits, from releasing desperate desire to being fully present, to embracing obstacles, to gratitude, authenticity, and community. Each habit is not just a technique, it is a key. One by one, they unlock a greater door, the door to freedom from inner resistance. Picture this: you're standing in the middle of a river. If you thrash and fight, you exhaust yourself. But if you learn to float, to move with the current, the river carries you exactly where you need to go. That is the essence of Stoic manifestation. And when you practice these 13 habits, what happens? You release the energy once drained by worry, anger, and comparison. You stop fighting against life and you start resonating with it. You become magnetic, not because you claw and pull, but because you radiate peace, certainty, and fullness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is according to nature, it is also according to you." This is the reminder: You don't have to chase what already belongs to you. When you live aligned, what's meant for you will find you. Here is the climax. You don't need another complicated plan to manifest your dreams. What you need is discipline of the soul, awareness in each moment, and the unshakable trust that life is happening for you, not against you. And from that stillness, abundance flows naturally. The message is clear. Stoic manifestation is not desperate action to force life into obedience. It is the journey of aligning with nature, living in inner peace, and trusting divine timing. When you practice these 13 habits, you will feel stronger, more balanced, more authentic. And from there, the doors of abundance open wide, not because you pound on them, but because you are finally ready to walk through. Now repeat after me, I am at peace. I am aligned. I trust. And from this state, abundance flows to me.